What if the way we travel could change so drastically that crossing continents feels like hopping on a subway and visiting distant stars becomes as routine as booking a flight? The future of transportation is no longer just about faster cars or sleeker planes. It's about rethinking movement itself. Today, we're diving into a head-to-head showdown between two of the most ambitious transport technologies ever conceived, the Hyperloop and Warp Drive. One promises to shrink the world by zipping passengers through near vacuum tubes at incredible speeds, while the other dreams of bending the fabric of space-time to make interstellar travel a reality. But how close are these technologies to becoming more than just science fiction, and what would it mean for humanity if they succeeded? Strap in, because we're about to explore the science, the challenges, and the mind-blowing potential of these futuristic systems. By the end, you'll not only understand how they work, you'll see why the race to redefine transportation could change everything we know about getting from point A to point B. Let's start with the Hyperloop, a concept that feels like it was plucked straight out of a sci-fi novel, but one that's grounded in real-world engineering. Back in 2013, Elon Musk unveiled this revolutionary idea in a white paper, challenging the world to rethink how we move people and goods. Frustrated by the inefficiencies of planes, trains, and automobiles, Musk envisioned a system that could whisk passengers from Los Angeles to San Francisco in just 30 minutes. That's faster than most cross-city commutes, so how does it work? Picture a sleek pod, gliding effortlessly through a near-vacuum tube at speeds approaching 700 miles per hour. By removing most of the air from the tube, the Hyperloop eliminates friction and drag, allowing the pods to achieve incredible speeds with minimal energy. It's like a futuristic train, but instead of chugging along tracks, it floats on magnetic levitation or air cushions, making the ride smooth and nearly silent. But the Hyperloop isn't just about speed, it's about efficiency. Unlike traditional transportation, which relies heavily on fossil fuels, this system is designed to be powered by renewable energy, like solar panels lining the tubes. It's a bold vision for sustainable, high-speed travel, and it's already attracted some of the brightest minds and companies in the world. Firms like Virgin Hyperloop, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, and others are racing to turn this dream into reality, with test tracks and prototypes popping up across the globe. What's fascinating is how the Hyperloop represents more than just a new way to travel. It's a challenge to the status quo. It asks us to imagine a world where distance is no longer a barrier, where cities hundreds of miles apart feel like neighbors. But as we'll see, turning this vision into a practical, everyday system comes with its own set of hurdles. From engineering challenges to regulatory roadblocks, the path to a functioning Hyperloop is anything but straightforward. Still, the sheer ambition behind it reminds us that the future of transportation isn't just about incremental improvements, it's about reimagining what's possible. Now, let's peel back the layers and uncover the science that makes the Hyperloop more than just a futuristic concept. It's a marvel of modern engineering. At its core, the Hyperloop relies on two key principles: magnetic levitation and near-vacuum environments. Together, these technologies create a system where friction is almost entirely eliminated, allowing pods to glide at breathtaking speeds without the usual limitations of traditional transportation. Magnetic levitation, or maglev for short, is the first piece of the puzzle. Instead of riding on rails, Hyperloop pods are designed to float above the track using powerful magnets. This levitation system eliminates physical contact, meaning there's no friction from wheels or tracks to slow the pod down. Think of it like a hoverboard, but on a much larger and more sophisticated scale. The result, a smooth, frictionless ride that feels almost like floating on air. But levitation alone isn't enough to achieve those jaw-dropping speeds. This is where the vacuum tube comes into play. By removing nearly all the air from the tube, engineers create a low-pressure environment that drastically reduces air resistance. In a world where air drag is one of the biggest obstacles to high-speed travel, this near-vacuum tube is a game-changer. Picture a straw with no air inside. When you blow through it, the air moves freely without resistance. That's the same principle at work here, allowing the Hyperloop pod to reach speeds of up to 700 miles per hour. Of course, designing a pod that can handle these conditions is no small feat. The aerodynamic shape of the Hyperloop pod is critical, ensuring it slices through the minimal air resistance with precision. Engineers have borrowed from aerospace technology, crafting sleek, bullet-like designs that minimize turbulence and maximize efficiency. Inside, the pod is engineered for both speed and comfort, with pressurized cabins to protect passengers from the extreme conditions outside. It's a delicate balance between cutting-edge engineering and human-centered design. Propulsion is another key element. Unlike traditional trains that rely on engines and wheels, the Hyperloop uses linear induction motors to propel the pods forward. These motors generate electromagnetic fields that push the pod along the track, providing a smooth and continuous acceleration. It's a system that's not only efficient but also incredibly quiet, making the experience feel almost futuristic. But what about safety and comfort at such high speeds? This is where the Hyperloop faces some of its biggest challenges, maintaining structural integrity in a near-vacuum tube, ensuring passenger safety during rapid acceleration and deceleration, and creating a comfortable environment for long-distance travel are all critical hurdles. Engineers are working on solutions like advanced monitoring systems, emergency braking mechanisms, and even shock-absorbing materials to address these concerns. It's a constant balancing act between pushing the boundaries of speed and ensuring the system is reliable and safe for everyday use. The Hyperloop isn't just a faster way to travel, it's a reimagining of what transportation can be. By combining magnetic levitation, vacuum technology, and cutting-edge design, it offers a glimpse into a future where distance is no longer a barrier. But as we've seen, turning this vision into reality requires overcoming significant technical and logistical challenges. The question isn't just whether the Hyperloop can work, it's whether we can make it work for everyone. And that's a challenge worth tackling. The Hyperloop has come a long way since Elon Musk first introduced the concept, transitioning from a bold idea to a tangible project with real-world progress. Over the past decade, companies and research teams have been hard at work, turning the dream of ultra-high-speed travel into something that feels increasingly within reach. But how close are we to seeing the Hyperloop in action? Let's take a look at where things stand today. One of the most significant milestones came in November 2020, when Virgin Hyperloop successfully completed its first passenger test in the Nevada desert. 2 passengers traveled inside a sleek, futuristic pod, reaching speeds of over 100 miles per hour in a short test track. While this might seem modest compared to the promised 700 miles per hour, it was a groundbreaking moment, proof that the technology could safely carry people at high speeds. This test wasn't just about speed, it was about demonstrating the system's safety, comfort, and feasibility, marking a major step forward for the entire industry. But Virgin Hyperloop isn't the only player in this space. Across the globe, countries are embracing the potential of this technology, investing in research and infrastructure to bring the Hyperloop to life. In the United Arab Emirates, for example, plans are underway to construct a Hyperloop route connecting Dubai and Abu Dhabi, a journey that currently takes over an hour by car, but could be reduced to just 12 minutes. Similarly, India has been exploring the possibility of a Hyperloop network to connect major cities, with a focus on reducing travel times and boosting economic growth. These projects aren't just about speed, they're about redefining how people and goods move across vast distances, unlocking new opportunities for commerce, tourism, and connectivity. Prototype tracks and feasibility studies are popping up in Europe and the United States as well. In France, a company called Hyperloop Transportation Technologies has been working on a test track, while in the Startups like Hyperloop TT and others are pushing forward with their own designs. Each of these projects brings its own innovations, from advanced materials to more efficient propulsion systems, showcasing the collaborative and competitive spirit driving this technology forward. However, progress doesn't come without challenges. One of the biggest hurdles facing the Hyperloop is regulation. Unlike traditional transportation systems, which have decades of established rules and safety standards, the Hyperloop operates in uncharted territory. Governments and regulatory bodies are still grappling with how to classify and oversee this new mode of transport. Questions about safety, environmental impact, and liability need to be addressed before the Hyperloop can become a reality. And then there's the issue of funding. Building a Hyperloop network requires massive investment, not just in the technology itself, but also in the infrastructure, from the tubes and tracks to the stations and power systems. Securing that funding, whether through public-private partnerships or private investment, is a critical step in moving from prototypes to full-scale implementation. Despite these challenges, the momentum behind the Hyperloop is undeniable. Each successful test, each new partnership, and every mile of track constructed brings us closer to a future where high-speed, sustainable travel is the norm. It's a future where cities hundreds of miles apart feel like they're right next door, where the barriers of distance and time are dramatically reduced. The Hyperloop isn't just a technological marvel, it's a testament to human ingenuity and our relentless drive to push the boundaries of what's possible. And while there's still work to be done, the progress so far is a powerful reminder that the future of transportation is closer than we think. One of the most exciting promises of the Hyperloop isn't just its speed, it's the potential to revolutionize transportation in a way that's kinder to our planet. In a world increasingly concerned about climate change, the Hyperloop offers a tantalizing vision, a high-speed transit system powered by renewable energy, capable of shuttling people and goods with minimal environmental impact. But can it truly deliver on this promise, or are there hidden costs that might outweigh the benefits? Let's start with the good news. Unlike traditional modes of transportation, which rely heavily on fossil fuels, the Hyperloop is designed to run on clean energy. Solar panels lining the tubes could provide the bulk of the system's power, making it a remarkably sustainable option. Since the pods move through near-vacuum tubes with very little friction, they require far less energy to maintain high speeds compared to airplanes or trains. Some estimates suggest that a Hyperloop system could be up to 10 times more energy efficient than air travel, and significantly greener than even electric cars when scaled across long distances. That's a game changer for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, especially in regions where transportation is a major contributor to carbon footprints. But what about the environmental cost of building the Hyperloop in the first place? Constructing hundreds or even thousands of miles of elevated tubes and stations is no small feat. The materials needed, such as steel and concrete, have their own carbon footprints, and the land required for the infrastructure could disrupt ecosystems and communities. Critics argue that the initial environmental toll might be significant, raising questions about whether the long-term benefits justify the short-term costs. It's a valid concern, and one that engineers and planners are actively working to address. Advances in sustainable construction materials, modular designs, and careful route planning could help minimize these impacts, but it's a challenge that can't be ignored. Another factor to consider is the Hyperloop's potential to reduce congestion and pollution in urban areas. By offering a faster, cleaner alternative to cars and planes, it could take millions of vehicles off the roads and reduce the need for short-haul flights, which are notoriously inefficient. Imagine a future where a trip that would normally require a gas-guzzling SUV or a jet emitting tons of CO2 could instead be made in a sleek, solar-powered pod. The ripple effects on air quality and carbon emissions could be profound. Still, the question remains, does the Hyperloop's promise of sustainability hold up under scrutiny? To truly assess its environmental impact, we need to look at the full life cycle of the system, from construction to operation and beyond. While the technology itself is designed to be eco-friendly, its success will depend on how it's implemented. Will governments and companies prioritize renewable energy sources and sustainable practices, or will cost-cutting measures undermine its green potential? And how will the Hyperloop integrate with existing transportation networks to maximize its benefits? The Hyperloop isn't just a faster way to travel, it's a chance to rethink how we move in a way that's better for the planet. By combining cutting-edge engineering with a commitment to sustainability, it offers a glimpse of a future where speed and environmental responsibility go hand in hand. But as with any groundbreaking technology, the devil is in the details. The Hyperloop's green credentials will depend on how we choose to build and operate it, and whether we're willing to invest in a vision that's as much about protecting the Earth as it is about getting us where we need to go. It's a challenge worth tackling, and one that could redefine what it means to travel responsibly. Now, let's take a leap from the tangible to the almost unimaginable: warp drive. While the Hyperloop redefines how we move across Earth, warp drive dares to ask, what if we could move beyond it? This concept, once confined to the pages of science fiction and the screens of Star Trek, is now a tantalizing possibility grounded in real scientific theory. Warp drive isn't just about going fast, it's about rethinking the very fabric of space and time to make the stars within our reach. At its heart, warp drive is inspired by Einstein's theory of general relativity, which describes how massive objects like stars and planets bend the fabric of space-time. Imagine space as a stretchy sheet and planets as heavy balls placed on it, creating dips and curves. Warp drive takes this idea a step further, proposing that we could manipulate these curves to warp space itself. Instead of traveling through space at incredible speeds, a warp drive could compress space in front of a spacecraft and expand it behind, effectively creating a bubble of space-time that moves faster than light. It's like folding a piece of paper so two distant points touch. You're not moving faster, you're making the distance shorter. The theoretical foundation for this idea comes from physicist Miguel Alcubierre, who in 1994 proposed the Alcubierre drive. His model suggested that by creating a region of contracted space in front of a ship and expanded space behind it, faster-than-light travel could be achieved without violating Einstein's laws. The spacecraft itself would remain stationary within its warp bubble, avoiding the physical stresses that come with accelerating to such extreme speeds. It's a mind-bending concept, but one that has captured the imagination of scientists and dreamers alike. Warp drive's appeal isn't just scientific, it's deeply cultural. For decades, Star Trek has popularized the idea of warp speed, making it a household term synonymous with futuristic travel. The USS Enterprise's ability to zip across galaxies has become a symbol of humanity's boundless curiosity and ambition. And while Star Trek may have fictionalized the concept, it also sparked real scientific inquiry, inspiring researchers to explore whether such a technology could exist beyond the realm of fiction. But could warp drive ever become a reality? The challenges are immense. For one, the energy requirements are staggering. Early calculations suggested that creating a warp bubble would require an amount of energy equivalent to the mass of Jupiter, a resource far beyond our current capabilities. However, more recent studies have proposed ways to reduce these energy needs, potentially making the concept more feasible. Advances in quantum physics and exotic matter, a hypothetical substance with negative energy, could hold the key to powering a warp drive. Still, these ideas remain speculative, and the technology to harness them is decades, if not centuries, away. Another hurdle is the potential impact on space-time itself. Warping space could have unforeseen consequences, from creating dangerous gravitational waves to disrupting the delicate balance of the universe. These questions highlight the ethical and practical challenges of pursuing such a revolutionary technology. Yet, they also underscore why warp drive is so compelling. It pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible, challenging us to dream bigger and explore further. Warp drive isn't just about reaching distant stars, it's about redefining humanity's place in the cosmos. It asks us to consider what it would mean to travel not just across continents, but across galaxies. While the Hyperloop shrinks distances on Earth, warp drive offers a vision of a future where the entire universe is within our grasp. It's a dream that blends science, imagination, and ambition, reminding us that the greatest journeys begin with a single, bold idea. And who knows, one day, the stars might not be so far away after all. To truly grasp the mind-bending concept of warp drive, we need to venture into the realm of physics specifically, the way it plays with the very fabric of space and time. At its core, warp drive isn't about moving through space faster than light. It's about bending space itself to bring distant points closer together. Think of it like this. If space is a stretched-out rubber sheet, warp drive doesn't try to race across the sheet. It folds the sheet so that 2 points touch. This idea, rooted in Einstein's theory of general relativity, suggests that massive objects like stars and planets can curve space-time. Warp drive takes this a step further, proposing that we could manipulate those curves to our advantage. The theoretical framework for this comes from physicist Miguel Alcubierre, who in 1994 introduced what's now known as the Alcubierre drive. His model describes a spacecraft surrounded by a warp bubble, where space in front of the ship is compressed and space behind it is expanded. Inside this bubble, the spacecraft remains stationary, avoiding the crushing effects of acceleration, while the bubble itself moves faster than light. It's like being on a moving walkway at the airport. You're not walking faster, but the ground beneath you is moving, propelling you forward. In this case, the ground is space-time itself. But here's where things get really interesting and really complicated. To create this warp bubble, we'd need something called negative energy. Negative energy is a hypothetical form of energy that has the opposite properties of normal energy. While regular energy creates gravity, pulling objects together, negative energy would theoretically repel them. This repulsive force is what could compress space in front of the ship and expand it behind, creating the warp bubble. The problem, negative energy, as far as we know, doesn't exist in nature. It's purely theoretical, and generating it, if it's even possible, would require technology far beyond our current capabilities. Then, there's the question of energy requirements. Early calculations suggested that creating a warp bubble would require an amount of energy equivalent to the mass of Jupiter, a staggering amount that's completely impractical. However, more recent research has proposed ways to reduce these energy needs. Some theories suggest that by shaping the warp bubble differently or using exotic matter, a hypothetical substance with negative energy, we could lower the energy demands significantly. Still, even these more optimistic estimates require advancements in physics and engineering that are decades, if not centuries, away. And let's not forget the paradoxes that come with faster-than-light travel. One of the biggest is the issue of causality, the idea that cause must always precede effect. If you could travel faster than light, you could theoretically arrive at your destination before you even left, creating a situation where the effect happens before the cause. This could lead to bizarre scenarios, like meeting your past self or altering events in ways that create logical contradictions. Then there's time dilation, a phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of special relativity, where time passes differently for observers moving at different speeds. At near light speeds, time slows down for the traveler relative to someone at rest. While this might not directly apply to warp drive, since the ship itself isn't moving, the implications of manipulating space-time are still largely unknown. Despite these challenges, the physics behind warp drive is undeniably fascinating. It pushes the boundaries of our understanding, forcing us to think beyond the limits of conventional travel. While the Hyperloop reimagines how we move across Earth, warp drive dares us to dream of a future where the stars are no longer out of reach. It's a reminder that the greatest leaps in science often start with a seemingly impossible idea, and that the journey to understanding is just as important as the destination. The dream of warp drive is undeniably thrilling, but turning that dream into reality comes with a host of challenges, some scientific, some philosophical, and all of them mind-boggling in their complexity. Let's start with the most immediate hurdle, energy. To create a warp bubble capable of bending space-time, we'd need an almost unimaginable amount of energy. Early estimates suggested it would require the energy equivalent of the mass of Jupiter, a figure so vast it feels almost comical. To put that into perspective, the entire global energy consumption in 1 year is a drop in the bucket compared to what warp drive might demand. While more recent research has proposed ways to reduce these energy needs, such as reconfiguring the shape of the warp bubble or using exotic matter, we're still talking about levels of power that far exceed anything humanity has ever harnessed. The question isn't just whether we can generate that energy, but whether we should. Would the pursuit of warp drive divert resources from more pressing needs, like addressing climate change or global inequality? It's a dilemma that forces us to weigh the allure of the stars against the realities of life on Earth. Then there's the issue of materials. To build a warp drive, we'd need something called exotic matter, a hypothetical substance with negative energy. This isn't just a rare or hard-to-find material, it's something that, as far as we know, doesn't exist in nature. Exotic matter would have the bizarre property of repelling rather than attracting objects, creating the kind of space-time distortion needed for a warp bubble. But here's the catch: we have no idea how to create or control it. Even if we could, the ethical implications are profound. What if producing exotic matter had unforeseen consequences, like destabilizing the fabric of space-time or creating dangerous anomalies? The risks are as vast as the potential rewards, and they raise questions about whether we're ready to tinker with forces we barely understand. But the challenges don't stop at energy and materials. Warp drive also forces us to confront some deeply ethical questions. For one, what happens if we encounter alien ecosystems? Interstellar travel isn't just about exploring new worlds, it's about how we interact with them. Would humanity have the wisdom to avoid repeating the mistakes of colonization and exploitation here on Earth? The idea of first contact isn't just a sci-fi trope, it's a real possibility that comes with immense responsibility. We'd need to establish guidelines for how to approach other life forms, how to preserve their environments, and how to ensure that our presence doesn't cause harm. It's a sobering reminder that the ability to travel among the stars comes with a moral obligation to do so thoughtfully and respectfully. And then there's the broader question of humanity's role as a spacefaring species. If we develop the technology to visit distant stars, what does that mean for our place in the universe? Are we explorers, stewards, or something else entirely? The pursuit of warp drive forces us to reckon with our own ambitions and limitations. It's not just about whether we can travel faster than light, it's about who we become in the process. Will we use this technology to unite and uplift, or will it deepen the divides between nations and peoples? The answers to these questions are as important as the science itself. Warp drive isn't just a technological challenge, it's a mirror held up to humanity. It asks us to confront our deepest fears, our highest aspirations, and our most profound responsibilities. While the scientific hurdles are immense, they pale in comparison to the ethical and philosophical questions that come with the territory. The journey to the stars isn't just about building a machine, it's about building a better version of ourselves. And that, perhaps, is the greatest challenge of all. When it comes to speed, the Hyperloop and warp drive represent two entirely different leagues of transportation. One is designed to shrink our world, making cross-continental travel faster than ever before. The other dares to take us beyond our world, bending the rules of physics to bring distant stars within reach. Let's break down how these technologies stack up in the race for speed, and what it could mean for the future of human mobility. The Hyperloop, with its sleek pods gliding through near vacuum tubes, promises to hit speeds of up to 700 miles per hour. That's faster than most commercial airplanes and nearly 3 times the speed of high-speed trains. Imagine traveling from New York to Los Angeles in just 3.5 hours, or crossing the entire United States in less time than it takes to watch a movie. For ground-based travel, this is a monumental leap, turning what used to be day-long journeys into quick commutes. The Hyperloop isn't just about getting there faster, it's about redefining what's possible on Earth. But as impressive as the Hyperloop's speed is, it's still confined to our planet. Warp drive, on the other hand, operates on a scale that's almost incomprehensible. Instead of measuring speed in miles per hour, we're talking about bending space-time itself to traverse distances that light takes years to cross. In theory, a warp drive could transport a spacecraft to Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our solar system, in just a matter of days or weeks. That's a journey of over 4 light years, a distance that would take tens of thousands of years with current technology. Warp drive doesn't just break the speed barrier, it redefines the very concept of distance. So, how do these speeds compare in practical terms? Let's put it this way. If the Hyperloop is like upgrading from a bicycle to a race car, warp drive is like trading that race car for a teleportation device. The Hyperloop is revolutionary for terrestrial travel, but warp drive is transformative for interstellar exploration. One connects cities, the other connects civilizations. Of course, speed isn't just about numbers, it's about impact. The Hyperloop's ability to move people and goods at unprecedented speeds could reshape economies, reduce urban congestion, and make remote areas more accessible. It's a technology with the potential to bring people closer together, fostering collaboration and cultural exchange. Warp drive, by contrast, opens the door to a future where humanity isn't confined to a single planet. It offers the tantalizing possibility of exploring new worlds, meeting extraterrestrial life, and ensuring the survival of our species by spreading beyond Earth. But speed isn't without its challenges. For the Hyperloop, maintaining safety and comfort at 700 miles per hour requires overcoming significant engineering hurdles. For warp drive, the challenges are even more daunting: warping space-time, generating negative energy, and navigating the ethical implications of faster-than-light travel. Both technologies push the boundaries of what we know, forcing us to confront the limits of science, engineering, and even philosophy. In the end, the Hyperloop and warp drive represent 2 visions of the future, one that brings us closer together on Earth, and one that takes us to the stars. While their speeds may be worlds apart, they share a common goal: to expand the horizons of human possibility. Whether we're racing across continents or leaping between galaxies, the journey ahead is nothing short of extraordinary. When it comes to turning dreams into reality, the Hyperloop and warp drive are on very different timelines. One is already zipping through test tracks, while the other remains a tantalizing idea rooted in theoretical physics. So, which of these futuristic transport technologies is closer to becoming a part of our everyday lives? Let's dive into the feasibility of each, weighing the challenges and opportunities that could shape their futures. The Hyperloop, for all its ambition, is already making tangible progress. Companies like Virgin Hyperloop have conducted successful passenger tests, proving that the technology can safely carry people at high speeds. Prototype tracks are being built in various parts of the world, from the deserts of Nevada to the bustling cities of India and the UAE. These projects aren't just proof of concept, they're stepping stones toward real-world implementation. The Hyperloop's near-vacuum tubes, magnetic levitation systems, and renewable energy integration are all based on existing engineering principles, making it a more achievable goal in the near term. But progress doesn't mean perfection. The Hyperloop still faces significant hurdles, from regulatory approvals to funding challenges. Building hundreds or thousands of miles of infrastructure isn't cheap, and securing the necessary investment, whether from governments, private companies, or a mix of both, is a major obstacle. Then there's the question of public acceptance. Convincing people to step into a pod and hurtle through a vacuum tube at 700 miles per hour requires more than just technical innovation. It demands trust in the system's safety and reliability. Warp drive, on the other hand, is a completely different beast. While the Hyperloop is grounded in today's engineering capabilities, warp drive exists in the realm of theoretical physics. The Alcubierre drive, the most well-known model for faster-than-light travel, relies on concepts like negative energy and exotic matter, substances that have never been observed in nature. Even if we could generate negative energy, the sheer amount required to create a warp bubble is staggering, far beyond anything humanity has ever produced. And then there's the question of time. While the Hyperloop could realistically become operational within the next decade or two, warp drive is likely centuries away, if it's possible at all. The scientific breakthroughs needed to make it a reality, like discovering exotic matter or finding a way to manipulate space-time on a practical scale, are still in their infancy. Warp drive isn't just a technological challenge, it's a philosophical one, forcing us to rethink our understanding of the universe itself. But feasibility isn't just about science and engineering, it's also about investment and societal priorities. The Hyperloop has already attracted significant interest from governments and private companies, with billions of dollars being poured into research and development. It's seen as a viable solution to modern transportation challenges, offering a cleaner, faster alternative to planes, trains, and cars. Warp drive, by contrast, is still a fringe idea, supported more by theoretical physicists and sci-fi enthusiasts than by mainstream funding or policy. That said, the role of visionary thinking can't be underestimated. Just as the Hyperloop emerged from Elon Musk's frustration with traditional transportation, warp drive represents humanity's enduring desire to explore the cosmos. While it may not be feasible today, the pursuit of such ideas pushes the boundaries of science, inspiring new generations of thinkers and innovators. So, which technology is closer to reality? The answer is clear: the Hyperloop. It's already being tested, funded, and built with a realistic path to becoming a part of our transportation landscape. Warp drive, while awe-inspiring, remains a distant dream, one that challenges us to dream bigger but may not materialize within our lifetimes. Both, however, remind us that the future of transportation isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about reimagining what's possible, whether on Earth or among the stars. The economic implications of the Hyperloop and warp drive are as vast and varied as the technologies themselves. While one aims to reshape how we move across Earth, the other dares to imagine a future where the stars themselves become part of our economy. Let's explore how these two groundbreaking systems could transform industries, create new opportunities, and challenge our understanding of what's economically possible. Starting with the Hyperloop, its potential to revolutionize regional economies is staggering. By drastically reducing travel times between cities, it could turn what were once hours-long commutes into quick, seamless journeys. Picture this: a businessperson in Los Angeles could attend a morning meeting in San Francisco and be back in time for lunch, all thanks to a 30-minute Hyperloop ride. This level of connectivity isn't just convenient, it's transformative. It could foster collaboration between industries, encourage tourism, and make remote areas more accessible. Suddenly, cities hundreds of miles apart could function as interconnected hubs, sharing resources, talent, and ideas in ways that were previously unimaginable. But the benefits don't stop there. The Hyperloop's reliance on renewable energy could also drive investment in green technologies, creating jobs and spurring innovation in the clean energy sector. Construction of the infrastructure itself would require massive investment, providing a boost to local economies and creating thousands of jobs. And once operational, the Hyperloop could reduce the need for short-haul flights and long-distance trucking, cutting down on emissions and transportation costs. For businesses, this means faster, cheaper, and more sustainable ways to move goods and people, a win-win for both the economy and the environment. Now, let's shift our gaze to the stars. Warp drive, while still a theoretical concept, offers a vision of economic possibilities that are truly out of this world. If humanity could harness the power to travel faster than light, the implications for interstellar trade and colonization would be profound. Imagine a future where rare minerals from distant asteroids are mined and transported back to Earth, or where entire industries are built around the exploration and settlement of new planets. The economic potential is limitless, but so are the challenges. The costs of developing and maintaining a warp drive system would be astronomical, literally. The energy and materials required to bend space-time are far beyond our current capabilities, and the risks of investing in such a speculative technology are immense. But for those willing to take the leap, the rewards could be equally extraordinary. Interstellar trade could open up entirely new markets, creating opportunities for industries we can't even imagine yet. And the ability to colonize other planets could ensure the long-term survival of humanity, offering a safety net in the face of global challenges like climate change or overpopulation. Of course, the question of who stands to benefit the most from these technologies is a complex one. In the case of the Hyperloop, the immediate beneficiaries would likely be regions with the infrastructure and resources to build and maintain the system. Wealthier nations and cities could see significant economic gains, while less developed areas might struggle to keep up. For warp drive, the stakes are even higher. The ability to travel to other stars could create a new kind of inequality, where only the wealthiest nations or corporations have access to the stars, leaving others behind. Both technologies also raise important questions about sustainability and equity. How do we ensure that the benefits of these systems are shared fairly, and what are the long-term costs, both economic and environmental, of pursuing such ambitious projects? These are questions that policymakers, economists, and citizens will need to grapple with as we move closer to making these technologies a reality. The economic impact of the Hyperloop and warp drive is a story of contrasts, one focused on connecting our world, the other on expanding it. Both have the potential to transform economies in ways we're only beginning to understand, but they also come with challenges that demand careful consideration. Whether we're racing across continents or leaping between stars, the journey ahead will be as much about economics as it is about engineering, and in that journey lies the promise of a future that's not just faster, but fairer and more prosperous for all. When it comes to futuristic transportation, speed and innovation are thrilling, but safety is non-negotiable. Whether we're talking about zipping through near-vacuum tubes or bending the fabric of space-time, the risks involved are as groundbreaking as the technologies themselves. So, how do the Hyperloop and warp drive measure up when it comes to keeping passengers safe? Let's break it down, starting with the Hyperloop. The Hyperloop's design is built around minimizing risks, but it's not without its challenges. One of the most pressing concerns is the possibility of a tube breach. Since the pods travel through near-vacuum tubes, a sudden loss of pressure could be catastrophic. Imagine a scenario where the tube is compromised. What happens to the pod hurtling through at 700 miles per hour? To address this, engineers are developing robust monitoring systems that can detect even the smallest anomalies in the tube's integrity. Additionally, emergency protocols are being designed to slow or stop the pod safely in the event of a breach, ensuring passengers are protected. Then there's the issue of pod malfunctions. At such high speeds, even a minor technical glitch could have serious consequences. To mitigate this, Hyperloop systems are being equipped with redundant safety mechanisms. Think of it like an airplane. If one system fails, there's always a backup. For example, magnetic levitation systems are designed to keep the pod stable, even if part of the system goes offline. And in the rare case of a complete failure, emergency braking systems can bring the pod to a controlled stop, minimizing risk to passengers. But what about evacuating passengers in an emergency? Unlike a train or plane, Hyperloop pods are enclosed in a sealed tube, which complicates evacuation procedures. Engineers are tackling this by designing pods with multiple exits and escape routes, along with pressurized cabins that can sustain passengers until help arrives. Some concepts even include inflatable slides or walkways that deploy inside the tube, allowing passengers to exit safely in the event of an emergency. Now, let's shift our focus to warp drive, a technology that comes with its own set of safety concerns, many of which are far more speculative. One of the biggest risks is the manipulation of space-time itself. Warping the fabric of the universe isn't just a technical challenge, it's a potential minefield of unknown dangers. For instance, what happens if the warp bubble destabilizes mid-journey? Could it create a black hole or tear a hole in space-time? These are questions that physicists are still grappling with, and the answers could have profound implications for both safety and feasibility. Radiation exposure is another major concern. Traveling through space, even within a warp bubble, would expose passengers to cosmic radiation, which can be harmful over long periods. Shielding technology would need to be advanced enough to protect passengers from these high-energy particles, potentially using materials or energy fields that are still in the experimental stages. And then there's the challenge of navigating unknown space. Interstellar travel isn't just about getting from point A to point B, it's about surviving the journey. What if the spacecraft encounters an uncharted asteroid field or a rogue black hole? The risks of space travel are inherently higher than those on Earth, and warp drive would require not just advanced technology, but also a deep understanding of the cosmos to ensure safe passage. Despite these challenges, both technologies are actively working on solutions. For the Hyperloop, safety innovations are being tested in real-world prototypes, with companies investing heavily in fail-safes and emergency systems. Warp drive, while still in the realm of theory, is inspiring researchers to explore new frontiers in physics and engineering. From developing stronger materials to studying the effects of space-time manipulation, the pursuit of safety is driving progress in ways that could benefit not just these technologies, but humanity as a whole. At the end of the day, safety isn't just about preventing accidents, it's about building trust. Whether it's convincing passengers to step into a Hyperloop pod or to board a spacecraft capable of bending space-time, these technologies must prove that they're not just fast, but reliable. The journey to safer transportation is ongoing, and the solutions being developed today could shape the way we travel for generations to come. Artificial intelligence isn't just a buzzword, it's the backbone of some of the most ambitious technologies of our time, including the Hyperloop and warp drive. For both systems, AI isn't an optional add-on, it's a necessity, enabling functions that would be impossible for humans to manage alone. In the Hyperloop, AI's role is all about precision and efficiency. Think of it as the brain behind the operation, constantly analyzing data to optimize routes, predict potential hazards, and ensure passenger comfort. For example, AI algorithms process real-time information from sensors embedded in the tubes and pods, adjusting speed and trajectory to avoid collisions or delays. It's like having a super intelligent co-pilot that never sleeps, ensuring every journey is as smooth and safe as possible. But AI's contributions don't stop there. Hyperloop systems are designed to handle thousands of pods moving simultaneously, each traveling at breakneck speeds. Without AI, managing this level of complexity would be chaos. Advanced machine learning models predict demand, optimize schedules, and even adjust energy consumption to keep the system running efficiently. And let's not forget passenger comfort. AI monitors cabin conditions, adjusting everything from temperature to lighting to create a seamless travel experience. It's a level of automation that's not just convenient, it's transformative. Now, let's take a leap into the cosmos and consider warp drive. Here, AI's role becomes even more critical and more mind-bending. Warp drive relies on manipulating space-time, a process that involves calculations so complex they would overwhelm even the most advanced human minds. AI steps in as the ultimate problem solver, crunching the numbers required to create and maintain a stable warp bubble. From predicting the effects of gravitational waves to adjusting the warp field in real time, AI would be the unseen hand guiding every aspect of the journey. Interstellar travel also introduces challenges that AI would need to navigate. Imagine venturing into uncharted space, where hazards like asteroid fields or cosmic radiation could appear without warning. AI systems would act as the ship's eyes and ears, constantly scanning the environment and making split-second decisions to avoid danger. These systems wouldn't just react, they'd anticipate, using predictive models to chart the safest course through the stars. In a way, AI becomes the bridge between humanity and the vast, unpredictable expanse of the universe. Yet, with great power comes great responsibility and ethical dilemmas. Relying so heavily on AI raises important questions about trust and accountability. What happens if an AI system malfunctions? Who's responsible for decisions made by a machine, especially in life or death scenarios? For the Hyperloop, a technical glitch could mean delays or minor disruptions, but for warp drive, a miscalculation could have catastrophic consequences, potentially stranding a spacecraft light years from home. These concerns aren't just theoretical, they're central to the development of both technologies. The ethical implications extend beyond safety. As AI takes on more decision-making roles, there's a risk of losing the human touch, whether it's in designing systems that prioritize efficiency over comfort or creating algorithms that inadvertently reinforce biases. Striking the right balance between automation and human oversight is crucial, ensuring that these technologies serve humanity rather than dictate its future. AI's role in the Hyperloop and warp drive is a testament to its transformative potential. From optimizing terrestrial travel to navigating the cosmos, it's the silent force enabling these futuristic visions to take shape. But as we integrate AI deeper into these systems, we must also grapple with the ethical and practical challenges it brings. After all, the future of transportation isn't just about moving faster, it's about moving smarter, safer, and more thoughtfully. And that's a journey worth taking together. Public perception plays a massive role in shaping the future of groundbreaking technologies. And when it comes to the Hyperloop and warp drive, the contrast couldn't be starker. On one hand, the Hyperloop is often seen as a tangible, near-future innovation, a bold but achievable step forward in transportation. People view it as a logical evolution of existing technologies, something that could realistically transform how we move across cities and continents. It's not just a concept, it's a project with test tracks, prototypes, and real-world trials. This sense of practicality has helped the Hyperloop gain traction, attracting investment from governments, corporations, and even the general public. It's a technology that feels within reach, and that optimism fuels its momentum. But then there's warp drive, a concept that exists in a completely different realm of imagination. For most people, warp drive isn't just a technology, it's a symbol of humanity's deepest aspirations. Thanks to science fiction, especially franchises like Star Trek, warp drive has become synonymous with interstellar exploration and the boundless potential of the human spirit. It's not just about traveling faster than light, it's about reaching for the stars, both literally and metaphorically. This almost mythical status makes warp drive incredibly compelling, but it also creates a sense of distance. For many, it's not a question of when it will happen, but if it's even possible. These differing perceptions have a profound impact on how each technology is funded and developed. The Hyperloop benefits from its practicality, with investors seeing it as a viable solution to modern transportation challenges. Governments and private companies are willing to pour billions into research and infrastructure because they believe in its potential to deliver real-world benefits. The Hyperloop's progress is driven by a clear, near-term vision, one that resonates with policymakers, businesses, and everyday people alike. Warp drive, on the other hand, faces a much steeper uphill battle. Its speculative nature makes it a harder sell for funding, especially when resources are limited. While it captures the imagination of scientists and dreamers, it's often dismissed as a fringe idea, something that might be possible centuries from now, but not anytime soon. This perception can slow down research, as funding tends to flow toward projects with more immediate returns. Yet, there's a silver lining. Warp Drive's cultural cachet inspires curiosity and creativity. It pushes us to think beyond the confines of our current understanding, sparking breakthroughs in physics and engineering that could have far-reaching implications, even if Warp Drive itself remains out of reach. Media representation also plays a key role in shaping these perceptions. The Hyperloop is often covered as a disruptive innovation, with headlines focusing on its speed, efficiency, and potential to revolutionize transportation. It's portrayed as a game-changer for urban planning, sustainability, and economic growth. Warp Drive, meanwhile, is usually framed as a fantastical idea, something that belongs more to the pages of science fiction than the labs of scientists. This dichotomy influences how each technology is received by the public, with the Hyperloop seen as a practical investment and Warp Drive as a source of inspiration. But what's fascinating is how these perceptions feed into each other. The Hyperloop's progress reminds us that even the most ambitious ideas can become reality with enough innovation and determination. It's a stepping stone, showing us what's possible when we dare to dream big. Warp Drive, in turn, challenges us to dream even bigger, to look beyond the horizon of our planet and imagine a future among the stars. Together, these technologies represent two sides of the same coin, one grounded in the here and now, the other reaching for the infinite. Ultimately, public perception isn't just about how we view these technologies, it's about how they shape us. The Hyperloop and Warp Drive aren't just tools for getting from point A to point B, they're mirrors reflecting our hopes, fears, and aspirations. Whether we're racing across continents or leaping between galaxies, the journey is as much about who we are as where we're going. And that's a story worth telling. The success of the Hyperloop and Warp Drive hinges not just on scientific breakthroughs, but on the collaboration between governments and private companies. These technologies require massive investments, cutting-edge infrastructure, and a level of coordination that transcends borders. Let's take a closer look at how these partnerships are shaping the future of transportation, on Earth and beyond. For the Hyperloop, the story is one of bold public-private partnerships. Companies like Virgin Hyperloop have teamed up with governments around the world to turn this futuristic vision into reality. Take the UAE, for example, where plans are underway to connect Dubai and Abu Dhabi with a Hyperloop system. The journey, which currently takes over an hour by car, could be reduced to just 12 minutes, a game-changer for commuters and businesses alike. The UAE government sees the Hyperloop as more than just a transportation project. It's a symbol of their commitment to innovation and sustainability. By investing in this technology, they're positioning themselves as leaders in the global race for high-speed, eco-friendly transit. India is another key player in the Hyperloop space. With its rapidly growing population and congested cities, the country is actively exploring how this technology could revolutionize its transportation network. A proposed Hyperloop route between Mumbai and Pune, for instance, could cut travel time from 3 hours to just 25 minutes. This isn't just about speed, it's about transforming the way people live and work, making it easier to access jobs, education, and opportunities. The Indian government's support for these projects highlights the potential of the Hyperloop to address some of the most pressing challenges of urbanization. But it's not just governments driving this progress. Private companies are playing a critical role, bringing the expertise, funding, and innovation needed to push these projects forward. Virgin Hyperloop, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, and other firms are at the forefront, developing the technology and infrastructure required to make the Hyperloop a reality. These partnerships between public and private sectors are a testament to the power of collaboration, proving that ambitious ideas can take flight when the right minds and resources come together. Now, let's shift our focus to warp drive, a technology that requires a different kind of partnership. While the Hyperloop is largely driven by private companies working with governments, warp drive demands the involvement of space agencies and cutting-edge research institutions. NASA, for instance, has been exploring the theoretical underpinnings of faster-than-light travel through initiatives like the Advanced Propulsion Physics Laboratory, also known as EagleWorks. These efforts are focused on understanding the physics of space-time manipulation and whether concepts like the Alcubierre drive could one day become feasible. Private companies are also stepping into the fray. SpaceX, led by Elon Musk, has long been a pioneer in pushing the boundaries of space exploration. While their current focus is on rockets and Mars colonization, the company's ambitious vision aligns closely with the goals of warp drive. SpaceX's advancements in propulsion technology and reusable spacecraft are laying the groundwork for future breakthroughs, even if warp drive itself remains a distant dream. Other private entities, like Breakthrough Starshot, are exploring alternative approaches to interstellar travel, showing that the quest to reach the stars is a collaborative effort spanning industries and disciplines. The geopolitical implications of leading in these fields are profound. For the Hyperloop, countries that invest early and heavily stand to gain significant economic and strategic advantages. By building the infrastructure for high-speed, sustainable transportation, they can attract investment, boost tourism, and position themselves as hubs of innovation. In the case of warp drive, the stakes are even higher. The ability to travel to other stars would fundamentally alter humanity's place in the universe, offering new frontiers for exploration, resource extraction, and even colonization. The nations or entities that master this technology would wield unprecedented influence, shaping the future of humanity on a cosmic scale. But with great power comes great responsibility. As governments and private companies race to develop these technologies, they must also consider the ethical and societal implications. Who benefits from these advancements? How do we ensure that the benefits are shared equitably, rather than creating new divides between nations or social classes? These are questions that demand thoughtful discussion and proactive policies, ensuring that the future of transportation is not just faster, but fairer. The roles of governments and private companies in advancing the Hyperloop and warp drive are as diverse as the technologies themselves. From public-private partnerships driving the Hyperloop's progress to space agencies and visionary companies pushing the boundaries of interstellar travel, these collaborations are shaping a future that's both exciting and uncertain. Whether we're racing across continents or leaping between stars, the journey ahead will be as much about the partnerships we build as the technologies we create. And in that journey lies the promise of a future that's not just faster, but more connected and inclusive for all. The Hyperloop isn't just a faster way to travel, it's a catalyst for reimagining how we design and live in our cities. Picture this: megacities that feel more like interconnected neighborhoods, where a 30-minute commute spans hundreds of miles instead of just a few blocks. This is the future of urban planning with Hyperloop, a future where distance becomes almost irrelevant, and cities evolve into hyper-connected hubs of activity, innovation, and opportunity. One of the most exciting possibilities is the creation of hyper-connected megacities. With the Hyperloop linking distant urban centers, the concept of a city could expand far beyond traditional boundaries. Imagine a network of cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas functioning as a single, seamless metropolitan area. Commuters could live in one city, work in another, and enjoy leisure activities in a third, all within the span of a single day. This level of connectivity could reduce the strain on overcrowded urban centers, spreading economic activity and population growth more evenly across regions. But the benefits don't stop at connectivity. The Hyperloop has the potential to dramatically reduce urban sprawl. one of the biggest challenges facing modern cities. By making it possible to live farther from work without sacrificing commute times, people could choose to reside in smaller, more sustainable communities outside major urban hubs. These satellite towns could offer a higher quality of life, with more green spaces, affordable housing, and less congestion, while still being just a short Hyperloop ride away from the economic and cultural opportunities of the city. This shift could also lead to the development of entirely new cities designed specifically around Hyperloop technology. Think of it, urban centers built from the ground up with Hyperloop stations as their central hubs, seamlessly integrating transportation, housing, and commerce. These cities could prioritize sustainability with renewable energy systems, pedestrian-friendly designs, and smart infrastructure that leverages the Hyperloop's efficiency. They'd be a blueprint for the cities of tomorrow, showcasing how technology can shape not just how we travel, but how we live, of course. Integrating the Hyperloop into existing cities comes with its own set of challenges. Urban landscapes are complex, with layers of infrastructure, zoning laws, and historical landmarks that can't simply be bulldozed to make way for new technology. Building Hyperloop routes in densely populated areas requires careful planning to minimize disruption, protect communities, and preserve the character of the city. Elevated tubes, underground tunnels, and clever routing could help, but these solutions come with their own costs and complexities. Then there's the question of equity. While the Hyperloop could transform urban living, there's a risk that its benefits might not be evenly distributed. Wealthier areas could see faster adoption and greater investment, while underserved communities might be left behind. Ensuring that the Hyperloop serves everyone, not just those who can afford it, will be a critical challenge for urban planners and policymakers. Despite these hurdles, the potential of the Hyperloop to reshape urban planning is undeniable. It's not just about building faster trains or sleeker pods, it's about rethinking the very fabric of our cities. From reducing sprawl to creating new economic hubs, the Hyperloop offers a vision of urban life that's more connected, sustainable, and inclusive. It's a future where cities aren't just places we live, they're networks we belong to, shaped by the technology that brings us closer together. As we look ahead, the Hyperloop reminds us that the future of transportation isn't just about speed, it's about how we choose to build the world around us. And in that choice lies the opportunity to create cities that are not just faster, but smarter, greener, and more livable for everyone. As we stand on the precipice of a new era in space exploration, Warp Drive offers a vision of the cosmos that's nothing short of revolutionary. Imagine a future where the stars are no longer distant points of light, but destinations within our reach, places we can visit, explore, and perhaps even call home. This technology doesn't just promise faster travel, it redefines what it means to be a spacefaring species, opening doors to interstellar colonization, the search for extraterrestrial life, and the expansion of human civilization far beyond the confines of Earth. One of the most thrilling possibilities is interstellar colonization. With Warp Drive, the dream of settling on distant planets becomes tangible. Picture humanity establishing outposts on worlds orbiting Proxima Centauri or Tau Ceti, building societies in star systems that were once unreachable. These colonies could serve as laboratories for new ways of living, experimenting with sustainable technologies and social systems that might one day be brought back to Earth. They could also act as insurance for our species, ensuring humanity's survival in the face of global threats like climate change or asteroid impacts. The ability to travel to other stars transforms us from a single planet species to a galactic civilization, spreading our footprint across the universe. But colonization is just the beginning. Warp Drive could also revolutionize the search for extraterrestrial life. Imagine sending probes or even manned missions to distant exoplanets, scanning their atmospheres for signs of oxygen, methane, or other biomarkers. The discovery of life, whether microbial or intelligent, would be one of the most profound moments in human history. reshaping our understanding of our place in the cosmos. Warp drive wouldn't just make these missions possible, it would make them practical, turning what are now decades-long journeys into trips of weeks or months. The implications for science, philosophy, and even religion are staggering, challenging us to rethink everything we thought we knew about life in the universe. Yet, with these possibilities come profound questions. What does it mean to expand beyond Earth? How do we ensure that our presence on other planets is responsible and sustainable, rather than repeating the mistakes of colonization here on Earth? The ability to travel to other star systems raises ethical dilemmas that demand careful consideration. Should we terraform planets to suit our needs or adapt ourselves to their environments? How do we interact with any life we encounter, ensuring that our actions are guided by respect and curiosity rather than exploitation? These aren't just technical challenges, they're moral ones, requiring us to confront our values and priorities as a species. The philosophical implications of warp drive are equally profound. For millennia, humanity has gazed at the stars, wondering if we're alone in the universe. Warp drive brings us closer to answering that question, but it also raises new ones. What if we discover that we're not alone? How would that change our sense of identity, our understanding of our place in the cosmos? And what if we don't find life out there? Would that make Earth even more precious, or would it deepen our sense of cosmic loneliness? These are questions that go beyond science, touching on the very essence of what it means to be human. Ultimately, warp drive isn't just about reaching new worlds, it's about understanding ourselves. The ability to explore the stars challenges us to grow, to think bigger, and to dream beyond the limits of our planet. It's a reminder that the universe is vast, full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered, and that our journey as a species is just beginning. Whether we're building colonies on distant planets, searching for extraterrestrial life, or grappling with the existential questions that come with interstellar travel, warp drive offers a future that's as thought-provoking as it is exciting. And in that future lies the promise of a humanity that's not just surviving, but thriving among the stars. As we marvel at the groundbreaking potential of the Hyperloop and warp drive, it's crucial to pause and consider the ethical questions these technologies bring to the table. Beyond the technical challenges and scientific breakthroughs, both systems force us to confront issues of accessibility, equity, and the broader societal impacts they might have. After all, the future of transportation isn't just about moving faster, it's about moving forward in a way that benefits everyone. Let's start with the Hyperloop. On the surface, it promises to revolutionize travel, making long distances feel short and connecting cities like never before. But who gets to benefit from this revolution? High-speed, high-tech transportation systems often come with a hefty price tag, and there's a real risk that the Hyperloop could become a luxury available only to the wealthy. Imagine a world where the rich can zip between cities in minutes, while others are left behind with outdated, slower options. This isn't just a question of fairness, it's about ensuring that the benefits of innovation are shared broadly, not concentrated in the hands of a few. Equity also comes into play when we consider where Hyperloop routes are built. Will they connect underserved communities, or will they focus on linking affluent urban centers? The choices we make about infrastructure today will shape the opportunities available to future generations. If we're not careful, the Hyperloop could deepen existing divides, creating a two-tiered system where some regions thrive while others stagnate. Addressing these challenges requires proactive planning and policies that prioritize inclusivity, ensuring that the Hyperloop becomes a tool for reducing inequality rather than exacerbating it. Now, let's shift our gaze to the stars and the ethical dilemmas posed by warp drive. The idea of interstellar colonization is undeniably exciting, but it also raises profound questions about our responsibilities as a spacefaring species. For starters, what gives humanity the right to claim other planets? If we discover a world with its own ecosystems, even microbial life, do we have the moral authority to colonize it? These questions force us to confront the legacy of colonization here on Earth and to consider how we can avoid repeating those mistakes on a cosmic scale. Then there's the issue of governance. Who gets to decide which planets we colonize and how we use their resources? If only a handful of nations or corporations have access to warp drive technology, the potential for exploitation is immense. We could see a future where the stars become a new frontier for power struggles, with powerful entities staking claims to distant worlds, while others are left behind. To prevent this, we'll need international agreements and ethical frameworks that ensure space exploration is conducted for the benefit of all humanity, not just the privileged few. But the ethical considerations don't stop at colonization. Warp drive also challenges us to think about our role in the universe. If we develop the ability to travel to other star systems, we become stewards of a much larger domain. This responsibility extends beyond just avoiding harm. It's about actively preserving the beauty and diversity of the cosmos. Whether we're exploring barren planets or encountering alien life, our actions will have consequences that ripple across galaxies. The choices we make today will shape the legacy we leave for future generations both on Earth and beyond. Both the Hyperloop and warp drive remind us that technological progress isn't just a matter of scientific achievement, it's a moral journey. As we push the boundaries of what's possible, we must also grapple with the ethical implications of our innovations. Will we use these technologies to create a more equitable and sustainable world, or will we let them deepen existing divides and create new ones? The answers to these questions will define not just the future of transportation, but the future of humanity itself. So, as we dream of a world where distance is no longer a barrier and the stars are within our reach, let's also dream of a future that's fair, inclusive, and thoughtful. The road ahead is full of promise, but it's up to us to navigate it with care and responsibility. After all, the true measure of progress isn't just how far we can go, it's how well we take everyone along for the journey. The journey to making futuristic technologies like the Hyperloop and Warp drive a reality isn't just about engineering breakthroughs or funding, it's about people. For these innovations to succeed, they need more than cutting-edge science. They need public understanding, trust, and support. That's where education and awareness come in. Without a well-informed public, even the most groundbreaking ideas risk being misunderstood, met with skepticism, or dismissed as science fiction. So, how do we bridge the gap between the lab and the living room? Let's explore the role of education, outreach, and media in shaping the future of these transformative technologies. At the heart of this effort is STEM education: science, technology, engineering, and math. These fields are the foundation of innovations like the Hyperloop and Warp drive, and inspiring the next generation of scientists, engineers, and dreamers is essential. Imagine a classroom where students aren't just learning about physics and math, but applying those concepts to design their own Hyperloop pods or theorize about the mechanics of a warp bubble. By integrating these futuristic ideas into curricula, we can spark curiosity and show students that the seemingly impossible is within reach. Programs like robotics clubs, science fairs, and partnerships with tech companies can bring these concepts to life, making STEM education not just relevant but exciting. But education isn't just for students, it's for everyone. Public outreach plays a vital role in demystifying these technologies and building a foundation of understanding. Think of interactive exhibits at science museums, where visitors can step inside a mock Hyperloop pod or explore the physics of space-time through hands-on displays. Public lectures, documentaries, and even social media campaigns can break down complex ideas into digestible, engaging content. The goal isn't to turn everyone into a physicist, but to foster a sense of wonder and confidence in the science behind these innovations. When people understand the how and why, they're more likely to support the what. Media representation is another powerful tool in shaping public perception. The way these technologies are portrayed, whether in news articles, TV shows, or films, can influence how they're received. Take the Hyperloop, for example. When media coverage focuses on its potential to reduce traffic, cut emissions, and connect communities, it builds excitement and support. But if the narrative shifts to focus on risks, costs, or failures, public enthusiasm can wane. The same goes for warp drive. While it's often depicted in science fiction as a thrilling leap into the unknown, it's also sometimes dismissed as pure fantasy. Striking the right balance, highlighting the possibilities while acknowledging the challenges, is key to keeping the public engaged and optimistic. However, misinformation and skepticism remain significant hurdles. In an age of viral headlines and polarized opinions, it's easy for myths and misconceptions to take root. Some might fear that the Hyperloop is unsafe or too expensive, while others might dismiss warp drive as nothing more than a pipe dream. Addressing these concerns requires transparency and open dialogue. Researchers and companies need to share their progress, explain the science, and address questions head-on. Public forums, Q&A sessions, and even virtual reality experiences can help demystify these technologies and build trust. When people feel informed, they're more likely to embrace innovation rather than fear it. One of the most exciting aspects of public education and outreach is its ability to inspire collaboration. When people understand the potential of these technologies, they're more likely to advocate for them, whether by supporting funding initiatives, participating in community planning, or even pursuing careers in related fields. This collective effort can create a positive feedback loop where public enthusiasm drives progress, and progress, in turn, fuels even greater enthusiasm. It's a reminder that the future of transportation isn't just in the hands of engineers and scientists, it's in the hands of all of us. As we look ahead, the role of education and awareness becomes clear. It's the bridge between innovation and adoption. By fostering understanding, sparking curiosity, and addressing concerns, we can create a future where technologies like the Hyperloop and warp drive aren't just marvels of science, but integral parts of our daily lives. It's a future where the stars feel closer and the world feels smaller, not because of the technology alone, but because of the shared vision and effort that brought it to life. And that's a future worth building together. At first glance, the Hyperloop and warp drive seem like two entirely separate visions of the future, one focused on revolutionizing travel on Earth, the other on exploring the stars. But what if these technologies aren't just parallel paths? What if they could work together, each playing a unique role in shaping a future where humanity thrives both here and beyond? This is the fascinating intersection where groundbreaking transportation meets interstellar ambition, and it's worth exploring how these two innovations might coexist and even amplify each other's potential. Let's start with the Hyperloop. As a system designed to shrink distances on Earth, it could serve as the backbone of a connected, sustainable planet. Imagine a world where cities hundreds of miles apart are linked by seamless, high-speed networks, enabling people and goods to move faster and more efficiently than ever before. This level of connectivity wouldn't just change how we travel, it would transform how we live, work, and interact. From reducing urban congestion to fostering economic growth, the Hyperloop could create a foundation for a more integrated and resilient Earth. Now, consider warp drive. While the Hyperloop connects us here, warp drive offers the promise of connecting us elsewhere, to distant stars, new worlds, and perhaps even other civilizations. It's a technology that expands humanity's horizons, taking us beyond the confines of our solar system and into the vast unknown. But here's where the synergy comes in. The lessons learned from developing the Hyperloop could pave the way for warp drive. The engineering challenges of creating near-vacuum environments, developing advanced propulsion systems, and ensuring passenger safety at extreme speeds are all areas where Hyperloop innovation could inform interstellar travel. In a way, the Hyperloop could act as a testing ground for the technologies that might one day power warp drive, but the connection doesn't stop there. Think about the infrastructure needed to support a multi-planetary future. If humanity establishes colonies on other planets or moons, we'll need efficient ways to move people and resources across those new frontiers. Hyperloop-inspired systems could be adapted for use on Mars or other celestial bodies, creating high-speed transit networks that make life on these worlds more feasible. Picture a Hyperloop-like system connecting Martian cities or transporting mined resources from the surface of an asteroid to a space station. The principles that make the Hyperloop work on Earth could be scaled and adapted for off-world environments, bridging the gap between terrestrial and interstellar travel. There's also the question of energy. Both technologies rely on cutting-edge energy solutions, with the Hyperloop leveraging renewable sources like solar power and warp drive, potentially requiring exotic forms of energy like negative energy. Advances in energy efficiency, storage, and generation for one could benefit the other, accelerating progress across the board. For example, breakthroughs in renewable energy systems developed for the Hyperloop could contribute to the energy needs of warp drive, making both technologies more sustainable and feasible. Of course, this vision of coexistence isn't without its challenges. The Hyperloop and warp drive operate on vastly different scales, with one focused on Earth-bound travel and the other on traversing the cosmos. Bridging these two worlds requires not just technological innovation, but also a shift in how we think about transportation. It's about seeing these technologies not as competitors, but as complementary pieces of a larger puzzle, one where humanity thrives on Earth while also reaching for the stars. So, could the Hyperloop and warp drive coexist? Absolutely. In fact, they might be the perfect partners in humanity's quest to explore, connect, and innovate. Together, they offer a vision of the future that's not just faster or farther, it's boundless. Whether we're racing across continents or leaping between galaxies, these technologies remind us that the journey ahead isn't about choosing one path. It's about building a world where every journey, no matter how near or far, is within our reach. As we stand at the crossroads of innovation, looking ahead to the long-term future of the Hyperloop and warp drive, one thing is clear. These technologies aren't just about changing how we travel, they're about redefining what's possible for humanity. The Hyperloop, with its promise of ultra-fast, sustainable transit, could become as commonplace as smartphones in the decades to come. Imagine a world where hopping from New York to Los Angeles in under 3 hours is as routine as catching a subway. Cities once separated by hours of travel could function as interconnected hubs, fostering collaboration, economic growth, and cultural exchange on an unprecedented scale. The Hyperloop isn't just a faster way to move, it's a catalyst for a more connected, efficient, and sustainable world. Warp drive, on the other hand, offers a vision that stretches far beyond Earth. While still in the realm of theoretical physics, the potential for faster-than-light travel could transform humanity into a multi-planetary species within the next century, or even sooner if breakthroughs accelerate. Picture a future where interstellar travel isn't just the stuff of science fiction, but a reality that allows us to explore distant stars, establish colonies on new worlds, and perhaps even encounter extraterrestrial life. Warp drive could turn the cosmos into our playground, opening doors to discoveries and adventures that we can barely imagine today. But let's not sugarcoat the challenges ahead. For the Hyperloop, the next steps involve scaling up from test tracks to full-scale networks. This means securing funding, navigating regulatory hurdles, and building the infrastructure needed to support millions of passengers. It's a massive undertaking, requiring collaboration between governments, private companies, and communities. And even as adoption grows, we'll need to ensure that the benefits of this technology are shared equitably, avoiding a future where only the privileged few can access its advantages. Warp drive faces even greater obstacles. The science behind it is still in its infancy, and the energy requirements alone are staggering. Developing the materials, technologies, and ethical frameworks needed to make it a reality could take centuries. But here's the thing, even if warp drive remains a distant dream, the pursuit of it is already reshaping our understanding of physics. inspiring new generations of scientists and pushing the boundaries of what we believe is possible. The journey to the stars is as much about the discoveries we make along the way as it is about the destination. So, what does the long-term future hold? For the Hyperloop, it's a world where distance no longer defines our lives, where work, family, and adventure are all within easy reach. For Warp Drive, it's a future where the stars are no longer out of reach, and humanity becomes a truly interstellar species. Together, these technologies could create a future that's not just faster or farther, but richer, more connected, and full of possibilities we can't yet fully comprehend. As we look ahead, it's worth asking, what kind of future do we want to build? One where technology serves as a bridge, bringing people closer together and expanding our horizons. Or one where innovation deepens divides and leaves some behind. The choices we make today, how we fund, develop, and govern these technologies will shape the world we live in tomorrow. The Hyperloop and Warp Drive aren't just tools for getting from point A to point B. They're invitations to dream bigger, think bolder, and create a future that's as extraordinary as the technologies themselves. So, let's imagine that future together, a world where the Hyperloop connects us like never before, and Warp Drive takes us to places we've only dreamed of. It's a vision that's as thrilling as it is uncertain, and it's up to all of us to make it a reality. After all, the future isn't something that just happens. It's something we build one bold idea at a time. As the world races toward a future defined by innovation, the development of the Hyperloop and Warp Drive has ignited a fierce competition, unlike anything we've seen before. Countries and companies are vying to lead in these groundbreaking fields, not just for the prestige of being first, but for the immense economic, strategic, and cultural advantages that come with it. This isn't just a race for faster transportation, it's a race to shape the future itself, with each player bringing their own vision, resources, and ambitions to the table. Take the Hyperloop, for example. What began as a bold idea has become a global phenomenon, with nations like the UAE, India, and the United States investing heavily in its development. The UAE is leading the charge with plans to connect Dubai and Abu Dhabi, aiming to slash travel times and boost economic integration. Meanwhile, India is exploring Hyperloop routes between Mumbai and Pune, envisioning a future where high-speed transit transforms its congested cities. These projects aren't just about building faster trains, they're about positioning these nations as pioneers in the next era of transportation, attracting investment, talent, and global attention. But it's not just governments driving this race. Private companies are playing a pivotal role, with firms like Virgin Hyperloop, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, and others pushing the boundaries of what's possible. These companies are competing not just to build the fastest or most efficient system, but to set the standards for an entirely new mode of transport. It's a high-stakes game of innovation, where breakthroughs in materials, energy efficiency, and safety could determine who leads the pack. And with billions of dollars on the line, the pressure to deliver is immense. Now, shift the lens to Warp Drive, a technology that's still in its infancy, but has already captured the imagination of space agencies and private enterprises alike. While NASA Advanced Propulsion Physics Laboratory explores the theoretical underpinnings of faster-than-light travel, private companies like SpaceX are pushing the envelope with advancements in propulsion and space exploration. The race here isn't just about reaching distant stars, it's about establishing dominance in what could become the next frontier of human civilization. The nation or entity that masters Warp Drive could wield unprecedented influence, shaping the future of interstellar travel and potentially redefining humanity's place in the cosmos. This global competition isn't just about who gets there first, it's about who gets there best. The stakes are high and the implications are profound. For countries, leading in these fields means securing economic advantages, enhancing national security, and boosting global influence. For companies, it's about capturing market share, driving innovation, and shaping the industries of tomorrow. But this race isn't just a zero-sum game. Collaboration could be just as important as competition, with partnerships between governments, companies, and research institutions accelerating progress and sharing the benefits more broadly. Consider the potential for international cooperation. Projects like the Hyperloop could serve as testbeds for global collaboration, with countries pooling resources and expertise to tackle challenges like infrastructure, regulation, and sustainability. Similarly, the pursuit of warp drive could unite space agencies and private companies in a shared mission to explore the stars, fostering a spirit of unity and shared purpose. After all, the challenges of these technologies are too vast for any one nation or entity to tackle alone. By working together, we could achieve breakthroughs that benefit all of humanity. Yet, the geopolitical implications of this race are impossible to ignore. The ability to dominate in these fields could shift the balance of power, creating new alliances and rivalries on a global scale. For example, a nation that masters the Hyperloop could become a hub for trade and innovation, while a leader in warp drive could control access to new worlds and resources. These technologies aren't just tools for progress, they're instruments of influence with the potential to reshape the world order. At its core, this global race is about more than just technology, it's about vision. The countries and companies that succeed will be the ones that dare to dream big, invest boldly, and embrace the risks and rewards of innovation. Whether it's connecting cities or bridging galaxies, the future of transportation is a story still being written. And as the world races toward that future, one thing is certain: the journey will be as transformative as the destination. As we wrap up this journey through the world of Hyperloop and warp drive, it's impossible not to feel a sense of awe for what the future holds. These two technologies, though vastly different in scope and ambition, share a common thread. They challenge us to rethink what's possible. The Hyperloop, with its promise of lightning-fast, sustainable travel, could redefine how we live, work, and connect on Earth. Simultaneously, warp drive dares us to dream beyond our planet, offering a vision of humanity as a spacefaring species capable of exploring the farthest reaches of the cosmos. Both technologies, however, come with their own set of hurdles. The Hyperloop must overcome engineering challenges, regulatory roadblocks, and the need for massive infrastructure investment. Warp drive, still rooted in theoretical physics, faces even greater obstacles, from the mind-bending energy requirements to the ethical dilemmas of interstellar colonization. Yet, these challenges aren't deal-breakers. They're invitations to innovate, collaborate, and push the boundaries of human ingenuity. What's most exciting is how these technologies complement each other. The Hyperloop could serve as a stepping stone, refining the technologies and systems that might one day power warp drive. Meanwhile, the pursuit of warp drive inspires us to think bigger, reminding us that the limits of our imagination are the only true boundaries. Together, they paint a picture of a future where distance is no longer a barrier, whether we're crossing continents or leaping between galaxies. But the future of transportation isn't just about the technology, it's about us. How will we use these innovations? Will we create a world that's more connected, sustainable, and inclusive? Or will we allow these advancements to deepen existing divides? The choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow, and each of us has a role to play. Whether you're an engineer, a policymaker, or simply someone who dreams of a better future, your voice matters. So, what do you think? Are you ready to embrace a world where the Hyperloop zips you across the globe in minutes? Or do you dare to imagine a future where warp drive takes us to the stars? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your vision for the future. And if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the technologies of tomorrow, don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of the innovations shaping our world. The future is closer than we think, and together, we can help shape it into something extraordinary.